But and I teach a very specific way on how to show up in particular communities, Facebook groups specifically, as I'm referring to right now, in a way that it positions you as a thought leader. And what happens is you start to see people start hitting you up in your messenger. You start getting DMs and you're like, what the heck is going on? Like, people are reaching out to me because they want support. Yes. When done correctly, absolutely yes. And welcome back to another episode of the Charyse Williams Show. I'm so excited about this episode. This episode is from pill pusher to purpose-driven practitioner. How to get your first paid client in the next 90 days. And so if you have ever ended a 12-hour shift or whatever hour shift, feeling like a pill pusher, instead of feeling like an empowered healer, then let this episode serve as your permission slip to stop settling. How does that sound? Because here's the thing. In reality, what I have found, and this is from working with, at this point, thousands of nurses and nurse practitioners, what I have found is that living in that duality, right? Living in the two places, like the allopathic world, which is, our traditional healthcare system, but having a deep desire and passion for true healing, right? Having that dichotomy, if you will, it is taxing. It is emotionally taxing. It's like, I like to often refer to it as living a double life, right? Because again, you have these like literally opposing views, and maybe they're not complete polar opposite. Well, God has polar opposite, but there's definitely a distinction between the two, which creates, like I said, this feeling of perhaps living in a double world or a double life, right? Maybe, at home you practice a more holistic approach to your healing, the way you raise your kids, the way you treat your kids, your husband, your spouse, your family members, yourself, even, right? And so, but then at home, excuse me, that's at home, but then at work, you are relegated really to Western medicine, and I call it a band-aid approach, right? Where all we're doing is either giving meds if you're RN, or writing prescriptions for meds if you're a nurse practitioner, and really just putting that band-aid on the problem, not really, so managing symptoms, not truly healing. And so if you find that, first of all, I just want to say, I see you, I feel you. When I say I feel you because, oh my gosh, I remember being there. I remember living that double life, and it felt awful. So in the time that we have here together on this podcast, I'm gonna actually lay out a exact path for the next 90 days for you, so that without having more certifications and without taking years of trial and error. So how does that sound? Are y'all in? You're in. I can hear you say, I can see you nodding your head from here. All right. So remember I said a second ago, like I feel you. When I tell you I feel you, I'm going to take you back to, and some of you guys know my story. I was an ICU nurse, 13 years. I've been a nurse in total at this point, at the time of this recording, 29 years total. I've had my nursing license for 29 years, but practicing nurse for 13 years, ICU, and pretty much all the ICUs. But I got my start in surgical ICU, and I continued to work in surgical ICU off and on because I was in the float pool for my entire bedside nursing career. So I will never forget, I was in surgical ICU that night. I worked night shift, 7P to 7A, and I was walking out of bed at 22. And as I was walking out of bed at 22, I stopped, and it hit me, and I said it out loud. I'm like, I didn't say it that loud, but I said it out loud to myself. I said, we are doing something wrong. And by we, I meant all of us, the nurses, the nurse practitioners, the doctors, the pharmacists, everybody involved. And the reason why I said that, and the reason why I had that awareness right then and there, is because I had two patients that night. One patient was in their 40s, the other patient was in their 50s. That's young, you guys. And I think at the time I was like 28, 30, something like that. But that's young. And so if you had just rewound like 10 years or so, the majority of the patients in surgical ICU, 60s, 70s, 80s, even 90s and 100-year-olds, right? That was the norm. 60 to 90, pretty much. Like, we didn't get a lot of 100-year-olds, but 60 to 90 for sure. But when I, again walked out of bed 22, And it clicked. I'm like, okay, they're 40 something, they're 50 something. And then I kind of just did a brief like assessment of like the unit. I'm like, everyone in here is like we're getting sicker younger. That's a problem. And that's what I meant when I said we're doing something wrong. And I just remember, I'm like, okay, I just like it got to the point, like that was when everything came to a head that night. I'm like, I can't be a part of this anymore, not like this. And so that's when I pivoted. I mean, if you guys know, I started a network marketing business. I started in a network marketing business, and then I went on to build launch my training and healthcare IT. I was in the healthcare IT arena and project management consulting business. I grew those businesses to six figures and multi six figures respectively. And then what happened was because I had been away from nursing for quite some time, but I started literally falling apart. Many of you have heard my falling apart story. I'll keep it short, but bottom line is I was traveling the country with my project management consulting business, living life, literally living the life, as they would say, make phenomenal money, multiple six figures, traveling here, there, everywhere. And I was in Ohio. I was in Beechwood, Ohio, and went out to eat with one of my friends and colleagues, and we're walking out of the restaurant. We're walking into the parking lot to our cars, and I stepped off the curb and I fell face down in the parking lot, like on the asphalt. It was hot. I do remember my face was on that hot asphalt. And I laid there for just a second and I'm like, are you on the ground? I'm asking myself. I am in amazement. I'm like, did you just fall? You just fell. Charyse, get your butt up. Like, get up off the ground. My friend helped me up. I dusted myself off. She walked to her car and took off. She said, she made sure I was okay. Listen. I didn't hurt anything other than my ego. My feelings were really hurt. My ego was hurt because I'm in my 30s. I'm like, little old ladies fall down. 30-year-olds don't fall down. But anyway, I get to my car. I put my forehead on the steering wheel and I started to cry and I literally told myself, I'm like, Charyse, what are you doing? You are literally falling apart. At that point, like I said, that the fall was the I guess where the rubber hits the road, no pun intended, because I was on the road, in the parking lot at least. But at that point, I was living with migraines. I used to get a migraine every once in a while, but at this point in time, I lived daily with severe migraines. And I just pushed through it. How many of you ever pushed through some things, right? I just pushed through it. I kept going, ignoring the signs from our body. We know our bodies are always communicating with us. And oftentimes we ignore it. And that fall was a wake-up call, like, girl, you're going to pay attention now. I'm going to get your attention, right? The migraines every day aren't getting your attention. Let me get your attention. So the migraines every day, I was like chronically fatigued. I mean, I lived on caffeine. It was ridiculous. I was taking medication for the migraines, but yet I was still having migraines. They would change the dosage, change the med, and I always felt like I had a hangover, and the migraine never actually went away. So between the migraines, the debilitating migraines that I pushed through, and the chronic fatigue, I put on a massive amount of weight. And I was having knee pain as subsequent to, because of the excess weight. And then, like I said, now I fall. And so that's why I was sitting there in my car and I was like, okay, you've got to change something. So I went on a quest and I started learning everything I could about food as medicine and medicinal herbs and therapeutic essential oils and breath work and meditation and all these alternative, I'm doing air quotes, alternative healing modalities, because I'm like, I am going to heal myself. I do not want to be on meds anymore, but I know I have to do something. And so in that moment, so talk about, remember I just talked about, there's never a perfect time. The perfect time is when you decide it's a perfect time. That was the time. That was perfect timing for me. And I decided to I literally shifted the way I ate. My energy came back. So I really shifted to a raw vegan diet. Energy came back like literally almost in a couple of days. I remember like 2-3 days later, I'm like, whoa, like where's this energy coming from? Literally, I dropped 80 pounds in like 8 months. My migraines went away. Many of you know I've not had a migraine. I haven't even had a headache. And at this point, it's been, I don't even know, 10 years. It's been a long time. I don't even know at this point. My energy came back, lost the weight, migraines went away, have not had even as much as a headache. Of course, my knee pain went away, all of that. And I remember thinking, man, now I had to just gather information. Like I literally became obsessed with learning from the books and seminars and all kinds of things. I mean, I went to everything that I could get my hands on. And I healed myself. And I remember thinking, I'm a nurse and I didn't know any of this stuff. like, how many other nurses out there don't know this? How many other people don't have this information? And so it's shortly thereafter is when I launched my holistic health coaching business. Actually, it wasn't a coaching business, it was a holistic health business. I then pivoted to holistic health coaching in 2020. And I started helping people heal. I started facilitating healing, true healing, like literally migraines were going away and their energy was coming back. And across the board, like literally you name an ailment and they were healing themselves. You notice I said they were healing themselves, not I was healing them. I facilitated, I supported them in their healing, but our bodies, we know this, our bodies are designed to heal itself with the proper support, right? And so, then what happened was I started having lots of nurses and nurse practitioners and doctors reach out to me and say, "Oh my gosh, I see what you're doing online. Can you help me?" And so that's when I pivoted, and I would still run both businesses parallelly. I still have a holistic health coaching business, as well as a business coaching business, helping brilliant nurses, nurse practitioners, and providers start their own businesses, start their own holistic health and functional medicine businesses. So that fuels me. I'm so passionate. I can't even get the words out. I'm so passionate now, really helping, nurse. And I say now, I mean, it's been quite a few years now. But anyway, so passionate about helping brilliant nurses like yourself monetize your brilliance and step back into why you became a nurse in the first place, which was to help people heal. That's why most people became nurses, right? So again, that was kind of a long story, but I think that I wanted to share that with you. For those of you who are new here, I needed you to hear that piece of it, okay? And so when I say that I feel you and I know where you are, I do from personal experience. And that's why I'm so freaking passionate about, again, helping nurses, nurse practitioners start their own businesses, and not just start their business, but then help them get their clients within the first 90 days of them deciding to start their business. So this is what I have found keeps nurses stuck, if you will. Prevents, and I'll call them, we'll just say they're like the three common traps that really prevent nurses from moving forward and can keep them stuck in that living that duality, that double life. The first thing is thinking that they need more certifications. You guys, now let me just say, I'm going to say two caveats here. One, I know I keep saying pill pusher, right? I do believe there's a time and place for meds. Absolutely. Hands down. Absolutely. But do most people need to be on meds for many conditions for a lifetime? No, absolutely not. Right. But that is not the aim of our healthcare system. And we know this. Right. So, and the other thing is, I'm not saying to not ever get any certifications or not further your education. You guys, I love learning. You can see behind me, those of you who are watching on YouTube, my bookshelf. This is only one of three of my bookshelves. I love learning. I love reading. I love always up leveling my knowledge. So I'm not saying that. And at this point, I have so many certifications, I don't even know what they are, literally. But what I'm saying is, do you need yet another certification to launch your business? No, you don't. Okay. And I don't know why we do this, but we downplay what we know. We downplay our brilliance. And that's one thing that really breaks my heart that we do as nurses. Again, if you have been, from your own personal lived experience, if you have been, treating, if you will, like your kids, yourself, your people in your household, people that are close to you, from a functional medicine lens, or even from, more of a holistic lens, then you know some things. You know things that other people don't know. Start with what you know. You can always, and you will always continue to up level your knowledge. But do you need it to start? No, you absolutely do not. You're a nurse. Let's just start there. You have a qualification as a nurse, okay? But with all that additional lived experience, and many of you listening do have certifications, right? You've gotten formal training from different places. You don't need another one to start. Let's just start. It's a stalling mechanism that we do for whatever reason. The second thing is, so feeling like they need more certifications or more training, I promise you know enough now to start, and you'll continue to amass more knowledge from lived experience and from formal training. Okay. I'm not worried about that, because that's just one thing that we do as nurses. Oh, we can learn some stuff. The second thing is really not knowing how to, where to start. Have you felt that? Like you don't know exactly where to start, what to offer. And that's my expertise. That's one of the things I love to do. I keep saying this, but really helping to monetize your brilliance. And the reality of it is, most of you, if not all of you, have a format. You may not know what it is. You're too close to it. You can't see it, right? But that's one of the things that I do. I really help to excavate, like really pull that out and help you create it fully so that you have an offer. But every single one of you listening has an offer. Has an offer. Do you get that? Okay. I need you to get that. All right. And then the third thing that tends to keep nurses stuck is again feeling like waiting for the quote. I'm doing air quotes here, waiting for the right time. And the reality of it is, there's never a right time. I mentioned that a second ago. There's never really a perfect time. The only perfect time is when you decide, like, I'm starting. But that is a choice. It's not a magical date or time on the calendar, because the reality of it is life is going to life. We know that. The kids are sometimes, we might hear the kids are too young, or the kids are too old. They're in too many activities, or I'm transitioning in my job. I'm moving to a new role. I've got things going on, in my household. My in-laws are going out. My outlaws are coming in. It's like there's always something. Life is going to life. There is never a time that you're going to get on the freeway, all the lights are green. Never. There's not going to be a time where you get on and all the lights are green. It just doesn't happen. You get to decide. You get to step into your power and make that decision. Now is the time. And that is the perfect time. And all that is a decision that you get to make. Are you excited about that? I hope you are. I hope you are. So now that we've got that out of the way, what's the next 90 days? I'm going to break down like a pathway, a 90-day pathway. We're going to take it in 30-day chunks, starting with the first 30 days. So and this is the way I work with all of my clients. This is the way I work with my clients inside the Quantum Leap Collective. But the first 30 days, it's helping you get clarity, like crystal clear on your niche, and helping you create an offer. Like I said, all of you have an offer inside of you, unbeknownst to you. Usually after I have the conversation, I help you kind of craft your program or your offer. Like, I didn't know that could be a thing. I didn't know. I'm like, yes. It's so we oftentimes overcomplicate it in our own minds. That's why it's so important to have someone outside of you who's not so close to it, because you can't see it. I couldn't see it. That's why I hired a coach when I first started my holistic health coaching business, because I couldn't see it. I was too close to it. Things that I do on a day-to-day basis. It's like I just do it. I just know it. Same with you. You just do it. You just know it. And so, but you do have a way of doing things. There's a formula to the way in which you do certain things, right? So month one, getting crystal clear on your niche and creating your offer. Now, when I say niche, that's your specialty. And I know, because I felt the same thing. And I started out without a niche, but I would not recommend that for anybody, because you're going to waste time and you're going to waste too much time. I don't know about you guys. I'm not into wasting time. So a niche, which is your specialty. Who is it that you love working with? What demographic? What health issue? Right? Not to say, because again, what I hear often is, like, I don't want to leave anyone out. But what I need you to understand is that no one is ever left out. Right? No one's ever. There's someone for everyone. But you in your business can't be for everyone. Number one, you don't have the capacity. We already said there's so much stuff going on. That's why you haven't launched your business yet, right? You don't even have the capacity, mental capacity, emotional capacity, or even time capacity to help everyone. You just don't, right? But guess what? You don't have to. And one of the quickest ways to really see success in your business is to pick a specialty. That does not mean that if someone comes to you that doesn't fall within that specialty, that you're not going to, take them on as a client. You have a choice. You can or you cannot, or you can refer them out. And so many of you guys know I love, like, literally in my holistic health coaching business, I specifically work with high achieving women who are either pre-diabetic or who have type 2 diabetes, or who have primary or essential hypertension. I love those two disease processes. Those are and unfortunately, they typically go hand in hand, right? We know this. I love that. That just makes me so happy. Not that they have it, but that I can help them reverse it. That's what I get jazzed about. Now, if you come to me and you have some, let's say you're in menopause or you're perimenopausal and your hormones are all over the place, and you want me to help, like, that's not can I help you? Yeah, I suppose. Yes. Okay. The short answer is yes. Does it light me up? Not so much. But guess what? I have colleagues, a lot of the nurse practitioners that are in my programs, that have come through my programs, that are still currently in my programs, that is their jam. And so many of you guys know Dr. Orlandis. He's the hormone guy, right? Board certified OBGYN, but he is a thought leader in the functional medicine space. And he specializes in women's hormones, menopause specifically. I can refer out, so no one is ever left behind. So if you have that, if you've had that thought or that feeling like, oh, but I don't want to pick a niche or a specialty because I want to help everyone. Like I said, number one, you can't, so stop. That's a surefire way to burn out. You think you burnt out at your job? This is a surefire way to burn out in your business. Okay, pick a niche, pick something that lights you up, that you absolutely love. You can always change it later if you choose to, but bottom line is pick a niche and just understand and know that no one's ever left behind. You can refer them out to people, like I said, who that is their jam. Okay, and then like I mentioned, building a super simple. Oftentimes we want to overcomplicate it, but is simplicity is where you want to go, not complexity. If it feels complex and chunky or clunky and laborious and heavy, again, do we want to burn out? No. What we want is the simplest, a simple business model that's going to drive outcomes. That's what we want. Okay. So that's what I hope you develop. All right. So that's your first 30 days. Yay. And your offer, usually within, you can very simply, very easily put together a $1,000 offer. That's a very, very easy, low ticket offer. You could also develop a 5 and 10 and 15 and 30,000. I mean, if you know, my holistic health coaching program is 30,000 for 12 months. So you have a huge range there, but first 30 days, let's get you some quick wins. I'm all about quick wins because that helps to build your confidence. It helps you build your momentum. Okay. $1,000 program, easy breezy. You know enough right now. Trust and believe me, you know enough right now to launch a $1,000 program. Okay. Month 2, now we're moving into increasing visibility and leads. And one of the easiest ways you can do this, and I always say this, if you've spent any amount of time in my communities, my Launch and Scale Your Holistic Health Coaching Facebook group, or the Functional Medicine Facebook group, or any of my communities, or if you've ever been in my space at all, you always hear me say one of the best things that you can do for yourself is one of the best things you can do to really increase your success. Really is put yourself around. Go where your ideal clients are. Go where they already are in abundance. So, for instance, let's just say you are. Let's say you're in medical weight loss space. Let's say you're a nurse practitioner in the medical weight loss space. Wouldn't it make sense for you to join Facebook groups where they're weight loss specific groups? Trust me, the people in those groups, they're not there because they don't want to lose weight. They are there specifically because they are looking for support and guidance on losing weight. Okay. And so do yourself a favor. Don't struggle. Don't feel in struggle. Let's go to where your clients already are. Your ideal clients already are. In abundance. And then learning how to speak their language is something that I work with. How do they articulate what it is that they're experiencing? How do they articulate their struggles? Not how do we, as healthcare providers, healthcare professionals, because we say it one particular way, like, oh, you're fatigued. And they might say, I'm so drained. Well, it's important that you use that verbiage. Okay, so speaking their language, you'll hear me say that time and time and time again. But this is something that we work on, month 2. All right. So go to where your clients are, learn how to speak their language so that your message resonates with them. Okay. And then start building interest without feeling salesy. And I'm all for sales. And let's face it, if you're in business, you got to have sales. That's how businesses stay open. That's how we make the level of impact that we want. That's how our mission continues on. It's got to be funded, right? So that being said, but and I teach a very specific way on how to show up in particular communities, Facebook groups specifically, as I'm referring to right now, in a way that it positions you as a thought leader. And what happens is you start to see people start hitting you up in Messenger. You start getting DMs and you're like, what the heck is going on? Like, people are reaching out to me because they want support. Yes. When done correctly. Absolutely. Yes. All right. So I guess it's to month 2. Month 3, now we're looking at, okay, how do we have those sales conversations? I just mentioned sales, right? How do we have those enrollment conversations? How do we get them from potential client? How do we move them from the DMs, from the Facebook group to the DMs to, okay, here's my credit card, or here's my method of payment. I want to work with you on this, on this particular health issue, right? And so there is a way in which you want to have this enrollment conversation in a very patient-centric, heart-centered way, not in a salesy way, but in a very specific way that leads to a natural yes. And you then enroll your first client, right? And so you want to have confidence when you're having this conversation, but it needs to feel natural, like literally a natural, empowering conversation between the two of you. That actually leads to a yes. Okay. Yes, that is a thing. Yes, there is a way in which to do that. I teach that inside the program, right? Inside of all my programs, in fact. And then, of course, you onboard your first client, and yay, voila, you have your first paid client. Yay, are you excited? It's very simple, very, very simple. And that was all within 90 days, right? And I kind of gave you a high level overview, but it is very, very simple. And so, but what is absolutely required is that we shift our mentality from an employee waiting for permission, right? Waiting to be given permission, shift from that mentality into the mentality of a CEO, right? Creating opportunities. There's a difference. Okay. So, because if you don't, and this is the thing too, and it's not about burning bridges. 'Cause I remember I felt that as I had that feeling. She's like, I don't want to burn any bridges. I was a little concerned about judgment from my peers. Oh, you want to start your own business? Oh, you're leaving, healthcare as it is. And as I get it, I get it. But here's the deal. You don't have to burn any bridges. In order to build your business, in order to build your next your own way on your own terms, right? You just have to start. Okay. Your first client isn't about it isn't just about income. In fact, that's secondary. But the income is important, but it's proof that your vision works. It is proof that your vision works. So it's a necessary part of the equation. Okay. All right. So if you're thinking like, that sounds kind of easy, kind of, or if you're thinking, you know what, I can see it. I can see the path. I see the path, but I still don't know what to do. Let me just take this opportunity to personally invite you to join us inside the Quantum Leap Collective, because this is what we do. This is what we do inside the Quantum Leap Collective. Number one, let's just start with we get you. So, I remember when I started my business, and just when I started my business, I didn't have I couldn't talk to my nursing friends about holistic health and healing naturally, and because they were like, what, like why, like you, like it just was a disconnect. But the beautiful thing about the Quantum Leap Collective and being in a community of like-minded people, you don't have to explain the why. We get it. That's why we're here together, right? Nurses, nurse practitioners, just we get it. So there's that, right? You don't have to justify anything. We're with you. We're in the same boat. You're preaching to the choir, so you don't even have to preach, right? So, but if you're ready to stop kind of feeling like just a pill pusher, and you really want to start helping people heal on a cellular level, right? Really help to facilitate their healing, then again, I invite you to join us inside the Quantum Leap Collective, and do it on your own terms. That's the thing. Help people heal on your own terms, right? So again, I invite you to join us inside the Quantum Leap Collective, and start your 90-day runway to clarity. Start your 90-day runway to confidence. Start your 90-day runway to getting your first paid client in a safe space, in a supportive space where you're given the tools to do that, and you're not out here floundering on your own trying to figure it out. You don't get a special prize for trying to figure it out. I just want you to know that. Okay. So to join the Quantum Leap Collective, you actually have two options. You can do a month to month. There's no contract. In fact, you stay as long as you feel like you're expanding, which will probably be, you probably won't want to leave, but there's nothing tying you to it. It's not a contract. It's $99. You can do a month to month, or if you're like, you know what, I'm in, like I'm all in. Let's go all in, right? I need to go all. So for some people, it's like I need to commit at the highest level because that's my level of accountability, and I know the level of support I'm going to need. If that is you, then you can sign up for annually. There's all types of bonuses. I won't go into it here, but you can definitely send me a DM. It's actually DM me on Instagram or Facebook, and I'll make sure that my links are below in the show notes. But just DM me the word CEO, DM me the word CEO, and I will send you all the information, all the bonuses that are available if you decide to do the annual, which is $999. Okay, so $999. So you can do $99 a month, no contract, or you can go all in and $999. Either way, you get to choose, you get to decide. All right. So DM me on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, whichever. Just DM me the word CEO. I'll send the details. All right. So that being said, you guys, share this. If you know someone like, okay, you got to hear this, like share it. This is how we grow. This is how we change this. This is how we change how we do healthcare, right? This is how we make a global impact. This is how we make not just an impact on our own personal health, but also the health of those that are connected to us and those that are assigned to us. I truly believe that that people are assigned to us. Okay. So that being said, you guys, thanks for tuning in. As always, I love you. I appreciate you. And I will see you next time for another episode of the Charyse Williams Show. Bye for now.